Two friends open their banking apps. One checks his balance every single day, sometimes twice. The other hasn't looked in 4 months. You'd assume the daily checker is the responsible one and the other is one step from disaster. You'd be wrong more often than you think, and the reason why says something strange about how humans actually process money. Here's a number that should surprise you. A study from Personal Capital found that people who check their accounts less frequently often have significantly higher net worths than people who check obsessively. Not because ignoring money makes you rich, because of what checking constantly actually does to your brain. Let's talk about why some people avoid their bank balance entirely. Because it's not laziness, it's a defense mechanism, and it usually comes from one specific place. It's a Tuesday afternoon, some point in their 20s. They open the app expecting a normal number and instead see a balance lower than they thought, an overdraft fee, a bill that hit early. That small gut drop moment, researchers call it financial anxiety response. And for some people, it happens so sharply the first time that the brain quietly files banking apps under things that cause pain. After that, avoidance isn't a choice anymore. It's automatic. The same way you don't touch a stove twice. Here's the first strange thing about non-checkers. They're not reckless with money. In fact, a lot of them have automated their entire financial life specifically so they never have to look. Automatic transfers to savings the day their paycheck lands. Bills on autopay. Retirement contributions pulled before the money ever touches their main account. Psychologists call this structural avoidance instead of relying on willpower or daily monitoring. They build a system that behaves correctly without them ever checking in. It's not neglect. It's a workaround for a brain that finds checking genuinely distressing. Compare that to compulsive checkers, the people who open their banking app the way others check social media reflexively dozens of times a week. Here's what's counterintuitive. Research on financial anxiety, including work published through the American Psychological Association, links frequent balance checking not to control, but to heightened financial stress and anxiety symptoms. Checking constantly doesn't calm the nervous system. It feeds it. Every glance is a tiny gamble, good news or bad, and the brain starts treating the number itself as a threat to monitor. The same circuitry used for hypervigilance. It looks like discipline from the outside. From the inside, it's often a stress loop that never fully resolves. Here's something else that separates the two groups, and it's about what money represents to them. For frequent checkers, the balance is often treated as a real-time verdict on how they're doing in life. Check it, feel relief or panic, repeat. For habitual non-checkers, money has usually been reframed as background infrastructure, something that runs on its own once it's set up correctly. The same way you don't check your car's oil level every morning even though the engine depends on it. Now here's the twist that complicates the checking is bad narrative, because avoidance has a real cost too. The same research shows non-checkers are also more likely to miss actual problems, a subscription they forgot to cancel, a fee that's been quietly recurring for a year, an account balance drifting lower than they realize because they built the system once and never revisited it. Avoidance protects the nervous system, but it can blind you to slow leaks that a system built years ago is no longer accounting for. So the real difference isn't checking versus not checking. It's whether the person built a structure first. The non-checkers who do well are the ones who automated everything and then check in occasionally, maybe monthly, as a system audit, not a panic response. The non-checkers who struggle are the ones who avoid looking because there was never a system to begin with, just avoidance layered over uncertainty. And the checkers who do well aren't checking out of anxiety. They're checking because they're actively managing something specific, a business cash flow, an investment rebalance, a short-term goal, not scanning for danger every time they open the app. Here's what actually matters more than either habit. Financial researchers increasingly point to something called money scripts, the unconscious beliefs about money formed early in life, usually before age 7, that quietly drive adult financial behavior for decades. Someone raised watching a parent panic over every bill often grows into a compulsive checker. Someone raised in a household where money conversations felt shameful or scarce often grows into an avoider. Neither behavior is really about the current balance at all. It's a script written decades before either of them ever opened a banking app. So if you're someone who checks obsessively, the fix isn't checking less out of willpower, it's building automated systems so the checking becomes optional instead of compulsive. And if you're someone who hasn't looked in months, the fix isn't guilt, it's one honest audit to make sure the system you built is actually still working the way you think it is. Neither the checker nor the avoider is inherently doing it right. The real question was never how often you look. It's whether looking or not looking is actually protecting you or just protecting you from finding out. If this sounds like you or someone you know, drop a comment about which one you are. And if you want more of the psychology behind money behavior, subscribe so you catch the next one.